2, 1. What's going on, everyone? Did you like that big cough in the mic? Didn't realize I didn't have the mic muted. And to get my, before I'm talk, to get all that phlegm out. So, no, I have a respiratory issue. Sorry about that. I had to move the mic here and mute it so it doesn't make a bunch of noise when you move it. I have a respiratory issue that I've had since forever. It's basically like a chronic version of bronchitis. I always have lots of fluid in my lungs, and makes me have kind of a higher phlegm buildup than normal. And yeah, sometimes you just gotta cough out that fluid. And so yeah, I'm really excited to catch COVID because I might be a high risk person. Who knows? Hope you guys are all doing well. Hopefully none of you guys have caught the COVID. Dane Barrett is the first in the house tonight. He says, TM, the premier first loneliest boy on the chat. Apparently he was so eager to get that out before anyone else did. He didn't spell check. Ed Brewer's second. Good to see you, Ed. Lord comes in and takes the bronze medal. FF2's here. Hey, FF. I haven't seen you in a few shows, so good to see you. Melissa was here. I managed to catch her. It's type in the chat. Hope you're doing well, Melissa. FF says, Ash, how was Silver Surfer Requiem? I missed a lot. Yeah, you did, man. Don't know where you've been. Hopefully you've been all right. But the good news is all those videos, you can go watch them. So it was really good, to answer your question. I really liked it. And that last episode was very emotional. It's exactly kind of what you expect it to be. So the art's beautiful, and Straczynski just crafts a real like somber, emotional kind of death of a hero story. It's kind of what like we kind of wish Death of Superman would have been. And I talk about that in the previous videos. Go ahead and check them out. You can always just fast forward through all the BS of the chat, and just get to the comics if you care about them, or not. Just go get the comics yourself and read them. They're on Comixology Unlimited. Dane says, I got that fluid thing too. Drives me crazy. And Eric Breen's in the house. What's going on, buddy? He says Ash has COVID-18. So close. So close. I got the COVID-18. It wasn't good enough for the 19. Let's see. Dane says, what's up, Lost Sheep? Did you like Brubaker X-Men? Brubaker did X-Men? What? What is this? I'd never heard of such a thing. Melissa was, and there's just no hard feelings, Ash. But I'm mad at Hickman for turning the X-Men into evil, human-hating bullies with a god complex and into segregationist cowards. Well, hey, I'm mad at it too. X-Men's my favorite comic. Like, that's what got me into comics. It's still there's never been a comic franchise that has surpassed my love for X-Men. And so I'm very upset as far as, but the thing for me, I guess, is X-Men's kind of been dead to me for 20 years or more. Like, there hasn't been a good X-Men since, I can't remember, since Claremont. Fabian Nicieza, Scott Lobdell did their best for a little bit, in my opinion, and held down the fort. But after they left, Marvel just threw in some of the worst embarrassment talent on some of these books. And, Grant Morrison came on the scene, and he's a solid writer. He's a good talent. But he did the problem that a lot of these big egomaniac writers, excuse me, Bendis. Sorry, I had a Bendis in my throat. Where they go in and they feel like they're bigger than the IP, and Morrison did that, and he made X-Men. He bent X-Men to his will and tried to make it his thing, and it's like, no, that's not X-Men. and I couldn't even finish his run. Now, there was good writing in it. That, like I say, I can recognize Grant Morrison's a solid writer, but he wrote something else. He didn't write X-Men. I don't know. I was like, I don't know what this is. And so and that might be the best thing that I've read. I used to have Marvel Unlimited when I was out of comics collecting. I would get a Marvel Unlimited subscription and kind of catch up on things I missed. And I would read through some of the X-Men storylines, and there was some okay stuff here and there. I kind of liked the whole Hope Summers drama and the whole thing with Cable when he was trying to get her back. And I was like, that's neat. But then it ended up being stupid. The end when they finally got and she became the Messiah that finally it was like, okay, and then that was dumb. It was so much better when she was just a little girl and she was a hope for the future. And then when they got to the future and Nick said, "Hey, now you're the hope," like it just didn't live up to expectations. It was just comics. This is one of the reasons why comics shouldn't progress. I mean, there's many reasons, but comics should be, in my opinion, a snapshot in time. And you just sort of stay at that, and you can have adventures in that time. And if you try to progress this story, going across a generation from a little girl all the way to adult, and it finally gets, oh, you're the and then you can't live up to it because you've had 5 different writers throughout, and they each had different ideas of how to do stuff. You haven't had an editor for 25 years that knew anything. And they effed it all up. So yeah, thanks, Melissa. You cracked the seal. You got the can of worms all spilled out, and I start talking about X-Men. I can't stop. Let's see. Let me scroll back up because I lost what I was doing. Melissa, I even know that I can't stay. I left you a big thumbs up from me and Jake. Bye, guys. Well, all right. I hope you have a good night. Say hello to Jake, and hope you guys are all well. Dane is in complete agreement with Melissa. And Eric Breen says Brubaker did 485 through 485. What? He did one issue? Set in space and dealt with Vulcan. It was good. Oh, Vulcan. The third Summers brother. Stupid. Oh, 475 through 485. Okay. So 10 issues, and it dealt with fake Summers brother because stupid writers that come into X-Men. Oh, I gotta put my own 2 cents into this thing and make it my own. And, it's bad enough. It's bad enough that that Marvel could never develop Havoc into what he should have been. And Claremont came kind of close, and maybe it would have happened if Claremont stayed around. I did like what Claremont did with Havoc, but you left this guy. He's basically a forever back burner character that you didn't know how to do. Oh, we got to make another brother that no one ever heard of. Oh well. Melissa's still here. Before I get going, Ash, check out your Orville Nation. There's an awesome channel. Also check out Fan Man and Troy Patchilli, both good friends of mine. Troy is a huge Star Trek fan. All right, cool. Let's see. Eric says, sorry I couldn't stay. Oh, you went somewhere? Oh, okay. Melissa says, Hope Summers' Messiah thing is blasphemous to Jesus. Well, she wasn't that kind of Messiah. She was just meant to be like the savior of the mutants, and not like the savior of all our sins. I wouldn't look at it too much in that. If that's how I see it. Eric says comics should be filled with partisan politics, social justice, and tell no meaningful stories. Well, you're in luck, Eric, because that's what they are. And they've been that way since the beginning. Don't you remember? Melissa's still sticking around. It's good. I'm going to keep you here, Melissa. Before I get going, Bendis is better in the Ultimate Universe and Elseworld stories, not in the main universe. Comics like Superman and Marvel 616. Yeah, well, I mean, it's kind of what I said earlier about these writers, these big name writers, they believe that they're bigger than the intellectual property. And oftentimes, it's the same thing that happens in the movies all the time. This is all the time why you see this in movies, because people, when they write for film, feature film for Hollywood, that's like the the pinnacle of the mountain, right? This is why, Stephen King might be one of the most successful authors in the history of the world, right? Whether you like him or not, it's not really arguable. The dude has written 1,000,000 books and he makes tons of money, and he's one of the most successful authors ever. But you get some guy in Hollywood and they're gonna, some studio options his book and says, "Oh, we want to make this into a movie." Then they hire a screenwriter. This screenwriter looks down on Stephen King because Stephen King may be the most successful author in the world, but he only writes books, right? The top is writing for major motion pictures to be seen in theaters. That's the top. And so even Stephen King is beneath. So they're going to take his material and they're going to shit all over it because they know how to do Stephen King stories better than even Stephen King. And that's why almost every Stephen King movie sucks. This is why up until the MCU, when Kevin Feige, who kind of knows his Marvel, was in charge, that's why Marvel movies always sucked. Most comic book movies, because I go back to the Tim Burton Batman, which I don't know why people to this day defend this film like it's some great Batman movie. It's not. It was great for a time. For its time, when you had Captain America movies where he wore a motorcycle helmet, Batman was like the greatest thing we'd ever seen. I get it, relatively, but in hindsight, it's not. And Tim Burton, is famous for that line that he made. I have not and will not ever read a comic book. And it shows. Like, you watch that movie and you're like, all the best things about this movie are the parts that Tim Burton didn't do. The soundtrack, the set design, the costumes, like all the parts that Tim Burton wasn't involved in were kind of solid. And you probably had people in Hollywood that, it's geeks, like they probably like some Batman, but the actual directing of the film, the telling of the story itself, it succeeded in spite. And then when they made the second movie and Tim Burton got even more involved, that movie went way off the rails, man. Let's see. Eric's doing a bunch of stuff. Just lecture the reader. Yeah, that's what I'm here for. You come here and I'll lecture to you. But anyways, Bendis is one of those people, those big name writers who are like, oh wait, the people that came before me, yeah, it was fine that they made these characters, but it's not till I got my hands on Superman and let me write Superman the way he's supposed to be. Let me show these plebes. And they go and, like Bendis is like a stray dog who has to piss on everything to mark his territory. If you go in and you look at Superman, he changed everything. Literally everything. He had to move the Fortress of Solitude. He had to make Superman no longer secret identity with Clark Kent. He had to get rid of his son, age him up, move him out, go to the future, have a different relationship with Lois. It just, every single thing that's in the books, like, it just, if Bendis could change it and put his mark on it, he did, because he couldn't leave any stone unturned. That's not the Bendis way, and the Bendis way is better. Anyways, Eric says Riri Williams better than Tony Stark. Damn straight. She loves the science too. Melissa says, me and Jake got to get going. You have a great stream. All right. You guys have a good night. Eric says Moon Girl is better than Moon Boy. Well, of course, she's a girl. Girls are better than boys, right? I mean, they're better in an equal way, because they're equal, and women are equal in the same as men, except that they're also women, so all the things that make women different than men makes them better, right? Because they get everything that the man has. I don't know, who knows. Dane says America Chavez is greater than Steve Rogers, Captain America. Of course, Steve Rogers is only Captain America. America Chop, that's her name. She is America. It's not a title for her. Of course she's better. And she's Hispanic and she's gay. So duh. Dane says Skip is probably rereading a bunch of Hickman FF nonsense. I think so. He had mentioned earlier somewhere that he was reading stuff. I don't know where he's at. I told him we were streaming. Oh, there he is. I see him in the chat. Let's see. Marania showed up. Eric, go to the naughty corner for what you said. You know why. Eric says, will there be cookies? So Skip is here. He says, hey, y'all. Hey, Skip. He knows to show up late. That's always a dramatic late entrance. He's a diva, you guys. We got to remember, got to just entertain him, let him have his moments. Hey, good to see you, Skip. Dane, glad to be here. Eric, take back what you said, says Marania. You know what you said, and you get cookies. Marania's a big Iron Man fan, and apparently she doesn't have any love for the superior Ironheart, villain. I don't know what she is. No one likes Riri. I don't even think the writer of Ironheart likes Riri. Let's see. Skip says, definitely was reading my Hickman nonsense all day. Eric says, Honey Badger better than X-23, better than Wolverine. Man, I think Eric's has been applying for a job at Marvel. He's got his shit straight. So, I managed to get through the chat. You guys are really talkative tonight, so yeah, it gave me a lot of things to read. I'm glad you're here. For those of you that might be new, I don't see any new faces, but if you're lurking in the background, part of the way this works is I start off the first third of the stream and just shoot the shit, so to speak, with the people in the chat. This is all meant to be kind of a hangout and read comics together. Since it's YouTube, it's like a one-way thing, so it's me reading to you. But I don't want to just turn on the stream and just read and then turn it off. Like, I want it to be interactive and give us all a chance to kind of get to know each other, hang out, say what's on our minds, say hello to one another, that sort of stuff. Skip says, haha, I tried to wait for my entourage to arrive before I could properly enter the chat. Hashtag diva life. Damn straight. All right. So, Tahilim says, at least Eve Ewing made Riri a little more likable and on the path to reform. Well, she could hardly do it worse. I mean, it was set for success. Anything you pretty much did to Riri is gonna make her better. So, yeah, I guess Eve Ewing should thank Bendis for that. Let's see. Let's see. Skip's reading an awesome FF4 issue that I think Ash would love. You're reading ahead, Skip. I'm only on issue 2 tonight. All right. Speaking of issue 2, let's go ahead and get to comics. So I got the Comixology up. Before we get started, I like to share deals and stuff with you guys because I always want people to tell me about deals. And our boy Skip helped me find these. As you know, a little while back, I think it was like 3 weeks ago, maybe it was last month. I don't know. I'm losing track of time during this whole COVID thing. But Marvel was giving away comics. You guys probably remember this. They had like 10 trade paperbacks, and I was like, go get these. There was some good ones. Like about four of them were really good, including the Brubaker Captain America. I hope you guys picked those up when they're free. Well, they got 10 more free ones, and I had found one of them just on accident. Because here's the problem. On Comixology, Marvel doesn't list them. Like, hey, here's, like, they're just there, and you have to find them. It's really stupid. I like Comixology as a platform, but I hate them as an interface. Like, they just don't... They're so bad at, like, marketing their product and stuff. Like, one of the things here... I'm getting all off track here, but I'm going to show you. I'll go to my front page on Comixology, right? And remember, take in mind, look at the top here. an Amazon company, right? So Amazon is the biggest company in the world, in the history of the world. FYI, I don't know if you guys knew this, but Jeff Bezos, the owner of Amazon, just became the world's first trillionaire. Can you imagine that? Like a person being worth $1 trillion? That's crazy. I can remember when the United States was like under $1 trillion. When it hit $1 trillion in debt, it was like, oh my God, $1 trillion. It's unfathomable. We can never pay that back. And now we just laugh. Now we're just like, stimulus bill, where's $3 trillion? Just wipe our ass with a check, you know, like we just throw away trillions like it's nothing. It's gonna be great for inflation. But anyways, Amazon does it right. Amazon knows the online business and the shipping business and how to do online selling. No one really does it better than Amazon. I mean, just pure fact. Comixology is owned by Amazon, and Comixology could not be any like their older brother. Like it just is shit. And it's like Amazon just is like, here, go have some money, you guys go do your comics, we don't care. And like I said, it is as a platform, it's cool. It has a lot of things. The $5.99 Comixology Unlimited is really good. They've negotiated really good deals to get stuff on the Comixology Unlimited. But as an interface and finding comics, it's terrible. So here on my front page, recommended for you. Well, let's see. X Factor Visionaries. Oh, I can kind of see that. Who is this? Mighty Avengers. Why would I care about this? Well, it's Brian Michael Bendis. Yeah, you really know what I like, Comixology. Brian Michael Bendis. It's got where is it? It changes all the time, so I'm not even giving a great example here. But it's got like Ta-Nehisi Coates, Black Panther. It's got Tom Taylor, Spider-Man. Like these are things I hate, but I don't have a way to get Amazon to know what I like and hate, because that doesn't whatever you last looked at. They're just going to think, oh, you looked at a Ta-Nehisi Coates book, so boom, we're going to put them all in your recommendations. No, I just clicked on it. I didn't like it. I wish it would base it actually on your star ratings that you give at the end of the books. So anyways, you didn't want to hear about that. So I just want to show you my recently purchased stack here. There's 10 free trades that you can get, and they're in the Discord. I also tweeted them out. And you can see them here. Now, as usual, not everything is good. It's Marvel. What do you expect? But I found Secret Wars earlier in the week, and I was like, oh, sick, because Jonathan Hickman, Secret Wars, art by Asad Rabiq. Okay, I'll take that for free. And then Skip was nice enough to be like, hey, yeah, I was on the Marvel site and I found all this stuff. And I was like, show me. So once I knew the books, then I went individually into Comixology and looked up each one. And sure enough, just as I theorized, they were free. So you can get Secret Invasion, Bendis and you. It's free. Miles Morales, Saladin Ahmed, it's free. But here we go. Planet Hulk. I've read this. This is muy bueno. Recommended. And I hear really good things about Secret Wars. I just haven't read it myself, but I'm excited for it. Then let's take a look at this. Fantastic Four by John Byrne. Free. I'm stoked. I'm becoming more of a Fantastic Four man. I hear the John Byrne stuff is legendary. Boom. Can't wait. So that's 2 great books. And we get the Doctor Strange. It's by Jason Aaron. But one of my favorite artists, Chris Bacalo, who I think he is perfect for Doctor Strange. He's kind of a weird artist. So I'm very excited just for the art alone, even if this sucks. And hey, again, it's free. And then we've got Nick Spencer's Captain America, Sam Wilson. Not my Captain America, it says in a very self-aware title. Just like, almost like they knew that fans were going to hate Sam Wilson being Captain America. And so they wrote it anyway and been like, slap in the face. Oh, you don't like this as Captain America, you racist bigots? Of course, because if you don't like Sam Wilson as Captain America, you're a racist. Has nothing to do with that you like Steve Rogers as Captain America, who's actually the only Captain America, but be that as it may. Speaking of Captain America, if you if you are a racist and a bigot, apparently you get to write Captain America. And your name's Ta-Nehisi Coates, and you write for the complete communist racist magazine, The Atlantic, and everyone praises you because you hate America. And what better person to put on a Captain America book than an anti-American communist and a racist? What? So here you go. You can now get volume 1. And I'm glad that I actually have this because I would never pay money for this. I did a review on my channel a while back, I think on issue 13 or something around there. You can see it. It's if you find it. It was actually pretty funny, I thought. But I never wanted to get other books, and it was as bad as I expected. But now I can kind of come in here and cringe it up. And maybe in the future when we're looking to read a story and we don't have any more America books to read, I can read some Captain Antifa. It's like I call him, Captain Antifa. And more Ta-Nehisi Coates with Black Panther, because Marvel realizes that you can't write black people unless you're black. Although it doesn't work in reverse, because apparently black people can write white people. That's fine. I don't know. That's their policy, not mine. And then finally, Marvel Masterworks, Amazing Spider-Man, Volume 1. This thing's like 300 pages, all the old school original Stan Lee, Steve Ditko Spider-Mans. I'm kind of looking forward to checking this out because I've never read the old school original Spider-Mans. And Eric Breen is shaking his head probably at me and saying, you stupid noob. But anyways, those are 10 free books, and I wasted a ton of your time blabbing about them. But go get them. It's free. It's free trades. By now, I have 20 free trades now since the COVID because through Marvel. And I'd say, by my count, almost half of them, at least eight are good, solid, worth paying. Oh, wait, I'm missing one. Oh, yeah, because I already owned it. Venom is in this stack, the Donny Cates Venom. I didn't buy it because I already owned it, so you don't see it here. But that's part of the deal, too. Donny Cates Venom, 1 through 6, first trade, Ryan Stegman art. Even if you're like, I'm not a Venom guy, check it out. Because I was the same way. I'm like, I don't like Venom as a hero and stuff. But Donny Cates changed my mind. All right, let's get into Superman before we get too long here. And I'm going to check. Am I not showing the screen? Oh, my God. I switched it, I swear. It didn't transition in the editing thing. And I wasn't looking at the chat, so I foobarred it. So half of you guys don't watch the screen when I'm doing this anyway, so for you, you won't notice, except I just told you. So I'm sorry. God, that's embarrassing. All right, well, I live and learn. For sure, going forward, I'm going to make sure that I double check the chat. I need to do better. Skip is really good about seeing the chat as he does things and multitasking. I need to take some lessons. But here's those books. You can see the pictures of the covers. And like I said, you can go on my Twitch, or not my Twitch, my Discord, or on my Twitter. And I have all the links to make it easy for you. Sorry about that. I feel like such a rube. Why did I didn't click on Fantastic Four? Oh man. See, this is why I need a partner. I could have had a partner and been like, "Yo, Ash, what are you doing?" Anyone else on the stream could have said something. Wow. Bum, bum, bum. Let's see. Oh, I'm looking through this. All right. I see people making fun of me. Oh, hey, Jimmy's in the house. Good to see you, Jimmy. Just in time. about to start reading Superman and try to forget what a jackass I am. So here we are. This is Superman Man of Tomorrow. This is written by Robert Venditti and with art by, what's his name? Is it Paul Pelletier? I always forget. I hate when they just do the last names and I don't remember. This is one of my favorite writers in comics. He's doing this great book called Hawkman, which I can't promote enough. And he's doing this special backup stories in the Superman Giants. And they are printing them as these digital firsts for us COVIDs, and you can get them for less than $1. So I've been picking them up while we're in quarantine. I've read the first 2 issues. This is issue 3, Dangerous Games. Metropolis. Looks like some toy store. I can't read the name. Tons of returns lately. Everything is breaking. Ever since LexCorp bought out Shot Toys, the quality is in the toilet. More like shoddy toys, am I right? We used to be a name customers could trust. Winslow Schott didn't do much to help with the brand with his crime spree, but hey, a job is a job. Let's lock up. I'll see you tomorrow. Yep, same bat time. Nice. Roar. Roar, roar, roar. Boom. I'll make him regret what he did to my toys. He's going to pay. Dangerous Games. Writer Robert Venditti. Penciler Paul Pelletier. Hey, I got it right. Inker Drew Hennessy. Color Adriano Lucas. And no one cares about the letterer. Come on. I gotta take a drink. All right. LexCorp Global Headquarters. 2 weeks later. Wait a second. That looks kind of surprisingly like the Baxter Building architecture with an L instead of a 4. Wait a second. Ooh, a ransom note. Dear Mr. Luthor, last warning. Stop and the game will end, Toyman. Clark Kent from the Daily Planet is here, Mr. Luthor. I explained that you don't do interviews without an appointment, but he says he's happy to wait as long as it takes. Is he now? I'm feeling charitable, Mercy. Show him in. Crunch. Kent. Persistent, I'll give you that. If I had $1 for every Lois Lane trying to make a name for themselves in this city, when everyone knows that Lois is one with the chops. I don't think you need any more dollars, Mr. Luthor, but I'll tell Lois you're a fan. I'm writing a story on a series of incidents that shot Toys locations. A source inside the fire department tells me that all 3 explosions were caused by malfunctions with the toys themselves. Do you care to comment? Certainly. Here's my comment. If the Daily Planet prints one word of that nonsense, I'll sue for libel. We have a right to report the news. Oh, I'd certainly lose the suit, but the cost of litigation would bankrupt your little rag. Your readers are down 11% from last year. As for me, well, as you said, I don't need any more dollars. If these attacks continue, someone will get hurt. Will you at least say whether Winslow Schott has made any threats to you or your company? Winslow Schott is a psychopath who couldn't cut it in the toy business, so he tried robbing banks to pay the bills. I've spent valuable LexCorp resources and my considerably more valuable time rebuilding the brand of a proud American company that would have died without me. Some say that Schott resorted to crime in an attempt to save his struggling company from a hostile takeover by LexCorp. But getting caught in escaping in a jailhouse explosion sent Schott's shareholders fleeing. That allowed you to buy up the company at a far less than its real value. And wasn't your first decision to move all production of the proud American Schott toys overseas? Your paper constantly fawns over Superman, the most dangerous alien on the planet, and you're lecturing me about manufacturing toys in China? You didn't answer my question. No. No, you haven't received any threats from Winslow Schott? No, I haven't answered your question. I appreciate you wasting your considerable valuable time, Mr. Luther. Kent? Do you find it embarrassing that your wife is better at your job than you? Ooh. Gee, Mr. Luther. Town diner. Maybe one day you'll love someone and you'll know the answer. You really said that? By the way, thank you for remembering to tuck in your tie. I think that one managed to survive a whole month without a stain. Just another gesture of my undying love, spreading it on thick, Smallville. Would I exaggerate to the best investigative reporter in Metropolis? Luther stonewalled me, though. I don't have much of a story or a lead to find out why the attacks are happening and stop them. Have you told Perry about your impromptu interview with Luther? Didn't want to do it on an empty stomach. Why? Where is he? Kent, I just got off the phone with LexCorp's chief counsel. Is there something you want to tell me? I needed a comment, Perry. You didn't run it by me first? And why would you? I'm only your boss. I hope you don't want me to back off the story. Oof. Back off? You riled him up. The story's finally getting somewhere. Just be smart. I don't mind an ambush. As long as I know it's coming. Can we go to the toy store, Mommy? Please? They're all closed right now. The news says they aren't safe. But I want to see the spaceships. What spaceships, honey? Those spaceships. Zap, zap, zap. Zap, zap. Ah, you run! Zap, 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 zap. Oh my God. Are those toys? They don't shoot like toys. Looks like you've got a new angle for your story, Kent. Kent? Time to go, Perry. You got that right. Olsen better be getting pictures of this. I know you can hear me with those ears of yours, Clark. I'll save your coat. You save the day. Dum 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 bum bum bum. Will do, Lois. I'm sorry I had to make such a bold attack, Superman. It's all Lex Luthor's fault. I won't allow him to ruin everything my family built. If a Schott can't run Schott toys, no one will. Bazap, bazap, bazap. Mommy, I'm scared. Schott toys are out of this world. Go away, spaceships. Playtime is a blast. Crunch. Superman. Bum 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 bum. Dum dum dum. Thank you, Superman. Find shelter, ma'am. And don't look up. Zack. Don't shoot. Don't shoot. Redirecting to new target. Would you like to play a game? Zap, 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 zap. I don't like this game. Zigzag. Oh man. Isn't that what was that movie? The Last Starfighter. Do you guys remember that from the 80s, The Last Starfighter? And they did that special, he had that special move that he could do called what was it called? The Death Blossom. And he just like spins around with the lasers and just blasts everything. That's what this reminds me of. Take that, you mean toy. I helped Superman. You sure did. Make sure you always help your ma, too. Shot. A LexCorp company, it says on the whatever, the debris. LexCorp. Meanwhile, at the Daily Planet building. Reign of Toyer. I've done it again. LexCorp has proven the toys aren't theirs, Perry. They're dangerous imitations that were somehow inserted into their distribution channels. Still, I know this is connected to Lex Luthor. Is Shot back for revenge because LexCorp gobbled up his company? Connect the dots, Kent. Why wouldn't Luthor just close the toy division for good? No parent is ever going to put a Shot toy under their Christmas tree again. Maybe Luthor's ego won't let him admit defeat. Or it could be that he wants the tax write-off. We don't print maybes and could-bes. If this has to do with Luthor, get confirmation. Well, you finally stumped me, Olsen. Click. I don't know whether to yell at you for not knocking or ask why you're walking backwards. Toyman is here. I'd like to speak with Clark Kent, please. I'm Clark Kent. These are innocent people. You don't want to hurt anyone. I've been reading your stories. I want to make an official statement. Until Lex Luthor ceases production of Shot toys, the attacks will continue. I won't allow him to ruin my family's legacy any longer. Does that count as confirmation? Yep. Swack! With a swing like that, Lane, you should replace Anton in the field for the Metropolis Monarchs. You knew that was a robot, right? Sure. To make certain Luthor understands, I'm bringing out a new toy. It's my biggest one yet. Rumble. Where's that thing going? Just point and shoot, Olsen. It's headed uptown. It's going to LexCorp. Finally, Winslow. You've shown me something I can use. Time to play Krang. Enough kid stuff. Here he comes. So predictable. Gah! If you don't play nice, you get a timeout. Bam! Oh boy. Wadoom! Crunch. Lex Luthor, come out and play. Skazn. All right. You've convinced me. I'll play along. Crunch. Rock'em sock'em. Go on and save me, Superman. This game will cost you an arm. Pop. And a leg. Clank. Boom. There's one last game. It's explosive. Mr. Luthor, I have to insist that you evacuate the building. You work for me. You insist nothing. There are 11 Shot Toys locations in Metropolis. The other 10 robots are on their way here. 3, 2, playtime is over. Took him long enough. This is Lex Luthor. I want a statement pushed out to all the news outlets immediately. For the amount I pay your firm and retainer, you'd better make sure the networks interrupt their programming. The statement is that Shot Toys is shuttering its business permanently. All products in the inventory will be destroyed. I'll see you soon, Superman. Days later. My staff has assured me that all the remaining machines have been dismantled and disposed of. The threat is over. Mr. Luthor, some are questioning why it took you so long to acknowledge that Shot had tainted your toys with dangerous imitations. Are you suggesting some type of agenda, Mr. Kent? LexCorp is a family. Jobs are lost now, lives destroyed. A source told me that the robots and other menacing toys contained highly advanced processors and components, elements with potentially profitable military applications. Maybe the purchase of Shot Toys was about gaining access to that technology. When the portfolio didn't have what you wanted, you drew Shot out of hiding to see if there were any designs he'd held back. If you're suggesting I needed Winslow Shot's acumen as an inventor to improve my defense contract division, I'm sure I'm offended. Shot is a grown man who played childish games. His designs are useless. Meanwhile, at a secure LexCorp research and development facilities. Dun dun dun! Next, a horror from the past. And there we go, boys and girls. That is Superman. I don't know what to rate this. I want to give it a 4. It's between 3 and 4. I don't do half stars. I think it's slightly better than a typical average book. Nothing super stellar, but it was a lot of fun. And by the time you get to the end of the book, you see that it's not just a silly one-shot story, that there's something bigger going on, which is what I appreciate. And there we go. Let's see about... Oop, no, I want to click. There we go. And now I can exit the reader and then pull up the chats and see what I've been missing. Anyone making fun of me still? Bum, bum, bum. All right. Eric saying, first stream, Ash? Of course. Lost Sheep says, kneel before Zod. You forgot the Snoochie Boochies. And if you know what that's from, then you get an extra brownie point. Quirks is in the house, but we knew that. Marania says, your ASMR voice makes up for the foo bars, Ash. Why, thank you. See, there's one person in here that'll say something nice to me. Let's see. Quirk says the art is awesome. I do like this artist. This is really, it's really weird to me that Paul Pelletier is writing a backup story in DC 100-page giant. Not that I'm sad that this story doesn't have good art, and so, like, but it's like DC. I don't know. I guess DC doesn't have a lot of books with bad art, but like Hawkman, for example, for a while had some pretty terrible art. They finally got the art back on schedule. I forget who's doing it currently, but it's pretty solid. Not as good as this guy though. I would love to see this guy doing Hawkman. But I guess DC art is, it's not, they're not like Marvel where just all their books are shit. You know, like find some good artist doing some obscure book and you're like, why? Comics Quirks with Jimmy says, I'm pretty sure that Clayton Cowell is like the most famous letterer. Wrong. Tom Orzechowski is the most famous letterer. I don't even know who Clayton Cowell is, but he probably letters like a million books because lettering today isn't the same as it used to be. It's all done on computers and typed out. Lettering is still important because understanding where to place the word balloons and things like that is a craft. It's a skill. It's not like you just throw shit out there. I've pointed out in the past on bad lettered books where you're just like, oh, it's usually easy to tell when a book is lettered poorly than when it's lettered well. When a book is lettered well, you don't really notice it. It's like, oh, okay, it's just, everything was fine. It's when it pulls you out and you're like, wait a second, I read the wrong person and I don't understand what the hell is. When it gets all confusing, yeah. But the modern day letters have it a little bit easier because the old school letterers had to know how to do all that, and they had to do it all by hand. So they had to have really extremely good penmanship too. Marania says, I care about letterers. If they do their job right, no typos and good text placement in the panels, even with Bendis speak. Did I nail her voice? I didn't get her voice even close to that right. She doesn't sound like that at all. Rick224 is in the house. Says, anyone else miss Mercy? I grew attached since the WBAS. I'm assuming it's an animated series of something. I don't watch cartoons. I always get lost with modern comic book fans. It's really weird. A lot of modern comic book fans don't really know the comics. They come from the cartoons. And it's like their whole like history is like, and I don't watch the cartoons. So it's failure to communicate. You know what movie that's from? Skip says, me and Ash are the Thunder Twins. No, we're the X-Pals, I thought. Thunder Twins. Let's see. Eric's naming off letterers. I'm taking it. Marania says, Death Blossom. Did you get it? Did one person get it? Jimmy says, this was awesome. Pretty rad. Venditti is consistent. That he is. I gotta tell you, even when Venditti is like, it's his worst book, it's still a 3-star book. I never have read anything by Robert Venditti where I was like, oh my God, that was trash. The worst thing I've ever read by Venditti was like, it was mediocre. Just, it was this there. I've never been like upset. Conversely, some of these other writers that we won't name today, oh boy. Let's see. Jimmy says, I joined late, so I don't know why people are making fun of you, so I won't. You're cool, dude. Well, I totally boomered the stream. I thought I was showing stuff and I wasn't, so no one could see what I was doing, even though I was talking about it. So, whatever. Computer Robot says, hello everyone. Hey, Computer Robots, please don't destroy the world today. It's not time for the robots to take over. Rania says, one of the best current artists for Superman is Ivan Rice. Sadly, he suffers the same curse as Clay Mann. Both drew beautiful books, but the writing was bad. Yeah, because, you know, the modern comic theory, and Marvel does this too, is to take a really crap writer and then like prop them up with your top art talent. And then if you have bad, like if you've got like a really popular writer, give him shit artists. Never put the two together. It's like wasting your talent. Just rely on one talent, the writer or the artist, to sell the book, and then put your B-list guy to pair with them. Because to put two superstars together, the comics just don't sell enough money. Or not sell enough money. They don't sell enough copies. They don't make money. You know, it's not like the old days where you put Jim Lee on an X-Men and all of a sudden you're selling 1 million copies. That made sense. You know, you put, Todd McFarlane on Spider-Man, all of a sudden you're selling 1 million copies. Nowadays, you could put Clayman on Scott Snyder. Well, they already have it. They got Scott Snyder with Greg Capullo. I always say Capullo because double L's is a Y sound, but it's Capullo. Anyways, Greg Capullo. Those two guys, two superstars, and it sells pretty well, but not like double. You know, if you were to put Scott Snyder and Greg Capullo on Batman again, you might get Batman sales up to 100,000, right? Instead of 80. So, anyways, you get the point what I'm saying. I'm just going to go on the weeds forever. Eric says, it's my phone. It has gremlins. Well, he must have talked about something. Computer says, I wish Marvel would bring back Hank Pym and stop treating him like crap. All right. They treat everyone like crap. What they need to do is just replace Hank Pym with a teenage girl who loves the science. And she can be like his granddaughter, someone else, Henrietta Pym. And she loves the science. And she's also a lesbian. And she'll be way more she'll make all sorts of revolutionary breakthroughs that her boomer father couldn't. Look, I could write for Marvel right now. Dane says, my wife cusses out her phone company every time she uses it. They're all haunted. Okay. Jimmy says, your phone is fine, Breen. You have boomer disease. Oh, that's very mean. It's very mean. I think that Eric went and got a crappy phone. He should have talked to me first. Ronnie says, agreed, computer robots. Pym's gotten a raw deal over the years. Get rid of Ultron Pym and bring back the real Hank Pym. I agree with you guys, but man, Marvel's gone. They're not bringing back. None of the people working for Marvel understand the classics. So all that stuff is dead. It dawned on me. I think I talked about this on one of the episodes a little while back. But it dawned on me that when I got into collecting comics, it was the 25th anniversary of Marvel. And at the time, I was a kid, I was a teenager, and I was like, oh, it's 25 years. Like, oh man, these comics that are 25 years old are so old, like I'm like 13, so I'm like half that old, right? It seems so old to me. And now I'm like, I was out of comics for 25 years. Like Marvel had their fake 80th anniversary like 30 years after their 25th anniversary. I don't know how that works, but it's been more time than Marvel has existed. So the history today, like Jimmy's Marvel, he's got 25 years of Marvel history since the time that I got into Marvel. And it's so much has changed, and all the people of that generation, they come in and they don't see Hank Pym anymore. They don't see the Marvel of the classic years. It's all the new stuff. It's been different for so long now that it's never going to go back. It's not going to be like someone's going to come into Marvel and be like, okay, enough with this nonsense. You guys had your 3 to 4 years of bullshit, like with a close example might be DC's New 52, where it's like, okay, that didn't work. Let's go back to basics. For Marvel, it's been over 20 years of nonsense. And I know maybe some of you are going to defend. It's like after the 90s and Joe Quesada came in, you go back into the early 2000s and there obviously is better shit then than there is today. But that's relative. If you compare that stuff to the Jim Shooter era, it's garbage. Marvel has been on a downward trajectory for a long time. And back then we could forgive it because we were like, okay, this is weird experimental stuff. It'll go away and we'll go back to normal. But 25 years later, it still hasn't gone back to normal. Now it's never. This is the new normal. The the Burger King Kids Club champions is the new normal. The new social justice warriors is the new normal. The X whatever X, can't call them men because that's sexist thing. I don't even know what the X-Men are anymore. Marvel, it's all the new stuff. It's out with the old Hawkeye, in with the way better Kate Bishop, the real Hawkeye. Thank you very much. That's what we're getting. And it's clear that Marvel is going to press that and press it. And if you disagree, if you're a fan that's like, no, I don't like this, then you're just going to get squashed. They're just going to keep pushing it until you go away. They're basically, it's like, either like our shit or stop buying it. We're not making any avenue towards fixing, because that would be admitting that we were wrong. That would be admitting that our way is the wrong way, and they're never going to do that. And since they're the ones in charge, it's it. Dane says, yes, Marvel actually needs a rebirth. Start everything at zero. But they'd have to fire everyone up there first. Yeah, they have to get rid of Sana Amanat. They have this crazy lady who has admitted that she is not qualified for... I mean, when was the last time you could publicly admit that you did not know how to do your job, that you weren't qualified to hold it, and still keep it? But apparently in Marvel Comics, you can do just that. She's admitted that she's not qualified. Not that she needs to. Anyone that's knows comics knows that Sana Amanat doesn't know what the hell she's doing. But she's in charge, and she'll never lose her job, because that would be a major lawsuit, and her family's rich. So, yeah, like, it's not worth it. And, you know, Marvel's not there to really make any money anyway. It's there to hold IPs for Disney. So, yeah, as long as Sana Amanat's there, this shit's Marvel's FUBAR. It's getting no correction. Ash, you're making me want to say not nice things about you with this idea of replacing good heroes with pretenders. You think you're working for Marvel or something? It's not what I want. I was being facetious. I want the Jim Shooter era back. That's my favorite era of comics in any company. Jim Shooter, Marvel, primo. But I like the idea of a reboot. I was actually saying the same thing, that Marvel should do a rebirth. I think I was saying it to Eric in a conversation once, and I think he'd disagree with me. If I'm right, I might be misremembering, but I think the argument against me was that Marvel has like this long-standing continuity. They've never had to do like a Crisis on Infinite Earths type thing. And my argument is like, well, yeah, 25 years ago, you didn't need to. Today, you absolutely need to. Like, it's too effed up. There's too many crap characters. But like I also said, they're never getting rid of Kate Bishop. You're never going to get rid of, She-Thor, Valkyrie. I don't know how many other titles she's going to steal in the meantime. You're never now going to get rid of Ghost Spider. You're never going to get rid of, all these things that they've created. They're never going to go away. That would just be admitting to not only to their mistakes, but then also seen by the culture warriors that they cater to as the most grievous offense. Can you imagine if these characters were squashed, if they were like, we're rebooting and we're starting the Marvel Universe for ground zero, and this time we're leaving Marvel alive, like he's not going to die of cancer, and we're just going to have the original Captain Marvel that people want. People would, what? No Carol Danvers? People would flip the hell out. Like, they'd be so offended, no Kamala Khan, we can't have it. Just those are never going away, because they are now social icons to promote the movement. And so even if you did reboot it, it would just be rebooting, and then the trash would start over. Nothing would get fixed. Let's see. Jimmy says the Bendis era of Marvel is the best era of... No, Jimmy, no. No. Do you think Marvel should ever have hired Joe Quesada and Axel Alonso editor-in-chief, and would not have gone down the way it went, or eventually? You know, I don't want to say they shouldn't have hired Joe Quesada because sometimes you never know. They needed an editor in chief. Axel Alonso obviously was problem. I think the publisher was the bigger issue. I forget that guy's name. Um, Eric Eric I'm sure knows. But the publisher that was in charge when Joe Quesada got the editor in chief job, um, those I think that was what's steering down the problem. And then also when Disney came along and bought out Marvel, I think that was the big sign of the end. It wasn't maybe noticeable at the time, but I think in hindsight, especially seeing what Disney did when buying Star Wars, Disney's vision for the company was not the same as the original vision. And I think now with the hindsight of seeing Disney and Star Wars, seeing Disney pick up Marvel and use it for the way it's done, um, this Marvel exists purely, in my opinion, to be an intellectual property holder for Disney. It Disney is the greater master, and so it doesn't actually get to pursue its own goals as a comic publishing company. It actually has to exist to serve the needs and wills of the greater master Disney, and everything else goes on, the back burner. And I think that's part of the big problem, and that's why no one has any drive or to make something of the company anymore. Ronnie says Heroes Reborn was supposed to fix some problems back in the day. If they do another Heroes Reborn and do it right, maybe things will be good again. Yeah, again, though, the problem comes back to the people that are in charge. An event, you can do a cool event, but if the people in charge have a vision for how Marvel to be, nothing's gonna fix it. No event. It's why Rebirth, as amazing as it was, ultimately kind of failed at DC because Didio didn't let it go. Didio had to eventually pull it back into his way and push Jeff Johns out of the picture, and it just, so DC ended up coming back full circle. When you have the corruption, the rot set in, if you don't cut it completely out, it's coming back. It's like, if you ever had like a piece of cheese or something, like it's been in the fridge, it gets a little bit of mold on it, or like a loaf of bread, just not like it's all moldy, just like one little speck, and you like cut it off or whatever, and you're like, okay, the rest of it's fine. Like a piece of bread, get rid of the piece that has the piece of mold on it. The thing is it's that's coming back. You're delaying the inevitable. Eric says Bill Jamas. Exactly, that's the guy. I knew Eric would come up with a name. Appreciate it, buddy. So caught up with the chat. Let's get into the final comic of the night that you guys have all been waiting for. Superman was fun, but we're gonna now get into some Jonathan Hickman. Boom, boom, Comixology. And I found that they have the single issues. So instead of doing it from the trade, I'm going to do the single issues. So we can actually get to enjoy the covers, because the trade doesn't have those. Because Marvel trades suck. They don't do it the way DC does it. They just strip it all out. I guess it's more incentive to buy the floppies, so I can't criticize too much, perhaps. This morning, I helped kill a Galactus on Earth 2012. All right. So first issue is 570. We already read that last episode. And so now we start with the second issue of the storyline, 571. I don't believe in murder. Here they come. Get ready. But this morning, before breakfast, I helped kill a Galactus on Earth 2012. Wow, multiple Silver Surfers. Is that gold surfers? It's interesting. So this is the thing. One of the things we missed on the trade paperback. It would have been nice. Kind of starts you off because since it is issue 570, you're right in the middle. So I'll just do this real quick because we didn't have it the first time. The Fantastic Four, a team and a family of adventurers, explorers, and imaginauts. The Fantastic Four lead lives both ordinary and extraordinary. As of today, determined to figure out how to solve the problems of the world, Reed created the bridge, which allows him to see the results of his actions played out differently in various alternate timelines. But Reed's actions caught the attention of a council, a consortium comprised of the Reed Richards counterparts from many parallel worlds, dedicated to doing great works. Consequently, our Reed has been offered membership in this august group, where he can reach his full potential. Solve Everything, Part 2. The Baxter Building. Good morning. Morning, Dad.
Ugh. Here you go, Stretch. You look like you needed this more than I do.
Artie and Leech are definitely coming. So are Katie and Jack Power. Thanks. What's going on over?
Birthday party.
Ah. Is there anyone else you want to invite? Do you think Dad could get Spider-Man to come? Well, he'll probably be busy, but I'm sure you could ask. What do you want that guy for? If you want a super cool superhero at your party, someone that says, Franklin Richards living the dream, then you're going to want the Human Torch, kid. I'm sure I can squeeze it in. Mom, I'd really rather have Spider-Man. Listen, I'm going to tell you this because no one else will, Franklin. Spider-Man sucks. You suck, suckface. Franklin, apologize. Okay, Mom, fine. Sorry, Uncle Suckface. And what's wrong with you? I don't want the kid embarrassing himself. Uh-huh. Do me a favor. You and Ben go play with the kids, okay? I need to talk to Reed. Sure. Okay, midgets, move it.
You know, Stretcho scientist leader, man, when you don't keep the wife happy, it's the whole team that suffers.
What is that? Hulk smash cereal? I gotta turn that into a real thing. So, you've been spending a lot of time with yourself. Yes. Yes, I have. Reed, I know your work is important, and I would never tell you what to do with your time. Sure you would. In fact, I'm pretty sure that's exactly what you're getting ready to do. I hate it when you do that. You spend all day in your lab, and then you act like you know everything. That you act like you know every thought that's running through my mind. Susan, when I was 15, I split my first atom. And by the time I was 25, I had spliced a gene and created new life. I've been to the stars in a rocket built with my own hands, and I've seen the death and birth of suns with my very own eyes. All of this my own doing. I am the foremost authority in countless areas of science and technology, and when the smartest people on this planet need help, it's me they call. I will not apologize for knowing the things I do. What's your point? I'm an expert in many things, but it's you I've studied the most. Give me one more week. Universe 8901, Day 1.
I could never accept the idea of someone going hungry.
So I started here, terraforming a 25 square mile patch of land on a barren, uninhabitable planet. I called it the farm. And now this planet provides food for those that have none. This is good, Reed. What? It takes a while for one of us to get acclimated to being a member of the council, to get used to what it is that we can do. Your entire life you've had to think of in terms of what's the most one man can achieve, as if choosing between things is a requirement. You're going to have to stop thinking so small. I don't. Why would I ever stop at one, Reed? I have hundreds of worlds like this. The scale of something like that. Yes, it's time to let your imagination run wild, Dr. Richards. Take a look. Now, pretend there's no horizon. Ah, good. A shipment is getting ready to go through. You won't want to miss this. Cool. Listen, there's something I've been wanting to ask. Of course, what is it? You're wearing an infinity gauntlet, a glove that will let any wish become reality. Why bother with all this when you could just snap your fingers? It doesn't work that way. The gauntlet only functions in the universe it came from. Oh, that's interesting. And we're operating in a slightly bigger arena than that. Besides, there's nothing wrong with getting your hands dirty, is there? Universe 45, Day 3.
Wham!
You've seen the farm? Yes. Everything we do has a purpose. It was necessary for you to see that before you see this. The greater good always makes the necessary evil more tolerable. Watch. This is an important lesson.
Hold him. Do your worst, Richards. Doom will never stop.
I know you think that, Victor. You could have been so much more. What did you do?
Doom?
Doom. The collar is a permanent control mechanism. It destroys higher brain functions. And so, just like that, Victor Von Doom is gone, and only this shell of a thing remains. Doom. Why would you do that to him? What made this Doom so much worse than all the rest? I want to show you something. Doom. Pop. This is the hole. Oh no. Doom? The hole deep beneath the main council chamber. Doom, 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 doom. This is wrong. Of course it is, but like I said, necessary. You don't know it yet, but you'll learn that there is no greater threat in the universe than Doom. His appetite is unmatched. He will never break. He will never yield. Why should I believe you? Because on my Earth, a small portion of Victor's DNA was spliced together with mine. You see, upper dimensional space, universe 12498, day 4. Used to. In this dimension, scale and will are perfectly proportional. This is how we perform surgery on the universe. Now, have a look around and see what you're dealing with. It seems to be a variable density star in a state of unnatural rapid decay. Uh-huh. And what could cause something like that? My best guess right now would be a supersymmetrical Oh, careful. Oh, I think I've got it. Remove it slowly. Well, would you look at that? Fringe dark matter. Yes, the remnants of the Big Bang. Like a cruel parent, the universe reached out from the past to try and take back one of her children. And you just saved 8 billion people, Reed. Feel good? Yes, very good. Well, that's it then. What do you mean? You've seen the farm? Yes. And the hole? Yes. Then you've seen the good and the bad, and after that, you stood beside me, larger than the sun, and did the impossible. It's time for you to decide, Reed. Do you want to play superhero the rest of your life? Or do you want to join us and solve everything? The Baxter Building, Day 5. I can always tell when you've got your mind on something, Reed. What's troubling you, son? The kids at school. Someone's being mean to you? No, nothing like that. No one makes fun of me or anything. Actually, they think I'm cool. And how is that a problem, Reed? They like me, Dad, but they're not like me. No one is. I don't understand. There's something special about you, Reed. One day, you're going to have the opportunity to help lots and lots of people. Maybe even everyone. Just maybe. If you set your mind to changing the world for the better, you can do that. Because there is nothing you can't do. You really believe that? Son, I know it. The Council, Day 6. So, you've come to a decision? I have. And you're sure? I've weighed all the options, and I think that I can do the most good with the Council. So, if you'll have me, I'd like to join. I believe I belong here. Then sound the great cymbal. Let the word echo out. Our number has grown by 1. We have been found by another brother. What say you, Council? Is this man?
Blarg, blarg.
Impossible. Brothers, be wary. The gateway is breached. The Council is compromised. It's the bridge from Universe 4280. What is the meaning of this? I'm sorry, so sorry. They made me. Who made you? Speak, man. Who made you? They have grown mad. They think they are gods. I could not stop them alone. I was wrong. They took me, tore open my mind. I told them about us, and now they have come. And from here they plan to take everything. Who?
Ba-boom.
Not gods, but something close enough. Celestials. Oh, damn. To be continued. Oh, damn. Woo. All right. I didn't stop. I went through beginning to end. Sometimes it was a good book. I just wanted to keep on going and don't lose my rhythm. Hope you guys enjoyed that book. I really did. It's getting better. The first book I liked, a little bit, a little dry, but like we talked about before, Hickman kind of interjects the family personality and the dynamics to make the characters feel fun, and and remind you that they're the Fantastic Four. It's who you like. It's really strange to read this and feel like, hey, this is Fantastic Four, and then also read X-Men and go, this is not X-Men. Like, I'm not going to get into that really discussion again, because I know there's a big arguments of people saying, oh, it's supposed to be that way, and the X-Men are going to be shown to be something different, and oh well, maybe we'll see. But I'm not along for the ride. Meanwhile, I am along for the ride on this. I'm very much enjoying it, and let's see what you guys in chat have to say. I should probably mark where I was so I don't have to keep scrolling around and finding. Rania says, actually, no, leave Marvel dead. Leave Gwen Stacy dead. Well, it's not about leaving one or the other dead. If you're rebooting your universe, then they're alive again, right? They didn't die. So that's the way I'm imagining it, at least. If you're doing a full reboot, right? Like I'm imagining rebooting your universe and then like telling the story of Peter Parker becoming Spider-Man again, letting the Marvel universe restart. And in that case, Marvel didn't die yet. And I guess you could like have him die again and get cancer and redo the whole story. I was just trying to pull something out of my ass as an example of pissing off the SJWs and the culture warriors and all the people who would be like, why are these characters yeah, they don't read the comics, but they need the characters to represent them anyway. Let's see. Computer Robot says Bob Harris. That's when Eric said Bill Jamas. Yeah, Jamas was the right guy. Let's go down. Skip says, I love the time with yourself double entendre. Yeah, that was a cool line. I do agree. I like that too. Let's see. Yup, and Johnny isn't used to being jealous. I think it's kind of interesting too, now that I had read the first trade of the FF book, which I happens a little bit later in the continuity after this series is the FF, and then that series Spider-Man joins the Fantastic Four. So it's kind of funny knowing that Hickman's making fun of him now, like, because I have a peek in the future. He's not making fun of him. He's having Johnny Storm. Anyways, you guys know what I'm talking about. Let's see. Marani says, limiting the Infinity Gauntlet to the universe of origin. I like that idea. The way that Reed can't be too overpowered. Well, that's true. He can't be too overpowered, but like in the first issue, there was like 3 Infinity Gauntlets. So yes, they don't work in the 616, but what says that you have to operate in the 616? I don't know. I thought the Infinity Gauntlet part was weird, and I'm okay. I'm trying to be open-minded, but I think Hickman is treating the Infinity Gauntlet a little too cavalier. And to be quite frank, I think a lot of it has to do with just how Marvel treats the Infinity Gauntlet since the 80s. When did Infinity Gauntlet come out, by the way? Was it 89? Might be at 90. I don't know. It's right around the late 80s, early 90s. That was when Infinity Gauntlet mattered. And then they did the Infinity Watch and the Infinity Crusade, and then they kind of burned through it. But the modern Marvel, just the Infinity Gauntlet, just, oh, look, the Infinity Gauntlet again. And then I read this book, and it's like, hey, we got 3 of them. And you're just like, oh, really? You got 3? It's kind of like when you did the Secret Wars thing, and there were like 27 Beyonders. Like remember when One Beyonder was like the most amazing thing? Like the Beyonder is more than an Infinity Gauntlet. I mean, he's not just powerful artifacts of a universe. He's an entire universe encapsulated into a being. And then it's like, that's not enough. And then we need 27 beyond. You're like, this is dumb. And this is kind of how I feel too. It's like, oh, it's not just one Infinity Gauntlet. We have multiples. Okay, I'm being a little bit hyperbolic here and just ranting because Hickman hasn't actually done anything stupid with them. I just think that there was no need, that they haven't played any part in the story, so it's eliciting a reaction from me unnecessarily because it doesn't even seem like it will have effect. But I'm told that Hickman does everything with a reason, so maybe the Infinity Gauntlet's going to come into play. We'll see. Let's see. What else? The Reed has a Starfleet insignia on his uniform. I was thinking the same thing, Rania. I almost commented. Jimmy says Shield is a must read after this run. And the bad news. I don't know what that's for. Sometimes I don't know the context of what your guys' comments are. Skip, there is a quote that fits the Fix Everything story. It refers to read more. A man who doesn't spend time with his family can never be a real man. The Godfather. Okay. So I'm having a little bit hard time following you guys' comments because, like I said, I don't really understand what the context was for the comment. Tahilim says he does family better than Bendis. My big thing is not so much comparing him to other writers, just comparing him to himself. Because when I read X-Men, like, his family dynamic with, like, the Summers, because, you know, like, the X-Men is really just the Summers family he's turned it into. And it just feels all forced and weird and awkward, and none of it feels right. But I read these, and I'm like, oh, yeah, this is, like, the character. I don't know if it's just because these characters are more established than the X-Men, which seems kind of weird to say, but, like, the Fantastic Four are pretty clean. Like, they're very clear-cut, you know, with Ben Grimm and, you know, Johnny Storm. Like, their personalities are very distinct, so it's kind of easy to come in and just, I don't want to say fake it, but, you know, it's like doing an impression. Like, some people, their personality and mannerisms are such a way that doing that impression of them is easy. I don't know. I'm getting lost in myself. Skip says Infinity Gauntlet was 91. All right, yeah, I knew it was right around there. I always get like some between 89 and 91. Anything that happened in that time all seems like the same time. Skip says I'm not saying a word about X-Men. Skip says Ash, please read Fantastic Four 605, please. Well, is it part of this run? Because unless this run gets stupid, I don't have any plan on ending this. I mean, I'm not going to read the whole thing probably to you guys, but I definitely want to read all the Hickman stuff. And I mean, as a matter of fact, when Hawks Pox came out, we were preparing to go into the X-Men and stuff, I was so enamored with Hawks Pox that I went, and I've lost it since. I have to go look it up again, but I was looking up the Hickman reading order to, like, because everyone's like, it's all connected and tied. So I looked up, and I was going to just go through and read it all, or at least the real crucial stuff, because I'm not sure I want to read. There was some of the Avengers stuff that I saw. I was like, because didn't he do an Avengers run like parallel with Bendis? Like, wasn't there like an Avengers and then also like a new Avengers at the same time? I don't know. Anyways, I was looking. I was like, okay, so like 75% of this or so looks really solid. I wanted to read the Shield stuff. I definitely wanted to read the Fantastic Four stuff. And I didn't hate the FF, the Freedom Foundation stuff. I thought it was fine. I kind of criticized it because that was one of the things I'd read in the beginning, and certain people were telling me like, oh my God, Hickman is the greatest writer that's ever written comics ever in the history of the world. He's the most amazing. And I was like, this is far from that. So I kind of like was a little bit harsher on the book than I would have been had I didn't know who he was. I thought the book was fine, entertaining, and I have to say I think it's going to be even better once I follow this. Like if I read this Fantastic Four line and like come into the story and it like matters more to me. So I plan on reading that as well. I like Hickman when he's writing good. I just can't stand him when he's writing bad. He's the most up and down writer I've ever read, because most other writers are real consistent. Like I read Bendis, and like 95% of the stuff he writes I don't like. It's not like, wow, this was amazing, and then I read something else and go, oh, that was like it's all the same. Same thing with Tom King. But like Venditti, it's like I read his stuff and it's pretty much all either great or just solid. There's very few writers that are like, I'm struggling to think of an example of a writer who can write something that blows my mind, like this was amazing, and then also write something and just be like, that was complete garbage. Really weird to me. I've never come across someone who's so high and low at the same time, or not the same time, but on different works. But yeah, I'm more than happy to. Everyone says Fantastic Four is some of his best stuff, and the Shield stuff that you read to me, Skip, was really solid. So I hope X-Men's just the anomaly. Maybe. Let's see. It gives away nothing and ties into this issue perfectly. All right. So you want me to skip ahead? Is that what you're trying to tell me? I don't know if I want to do that. Marani says Hickman did relate the appearance of the gauntlets in the prior issue to this one, where he explained the limitation. Okay, yeah. It's if I were to say one thing, I think Hickman probably has one Marvel group is his fave and able to show more passion in the project. I don't know. I don't know what that you were saying there. Skip says you're like 70 issues away from where you are, but it's short and it ties in perfectly to this issue. It's an anthology story. All right, we'll talk behind the scenes, Skip. We'll get some. Maybe you can convince me if it's all right. I'll make a special. We'll see. Because I have to find the issue too. I don't just have it. Jimmy says I feel like the first 12 issues of Hickman's Avengers would give Ash a stroke. What happened to Ash? He read the Avengers. Oh man, it's too bad. He used to read comics to us. Yeah, not anymore. Ever since the Avengers day. Rania says they did the .1 issues back in the day. I recall 500.1 issue of Iron Man. They were supposed to be a jumping on point for new readers, like a recap of the history. Yeah, what is the deal with that? DC does a bunch of that too. I hate the point numbers. This is bullshit. Just do an issue 500, 501. Okay, you don't need to do 500.1. But whatever. What do I know? Not much. I'm just a noob. But it is getting late. I've pushed this way beyond the time limit, but you guys have been a lot of fun tonight, despite my embarrassment. And I get more talkative when I get embarrassed too, like if that's possible. So it is getting to the end of the stream. I don't know if you guys have any final last words, but this is where we're at. I really am enjoying this Fantastic Four. I'm glad that it got picked. And see, Jimmy, I do listen to you sometimes. And we're going to read next episode. We're going to do issue 4 of Superman. And then we'll come back and do more Fantastic Four. And yeah, and if you guys have any suggestions of things to do on the show, tell me about it. If there's something you want to talk about, instead of me just winging it, give me a topic to talk about. Until then, I want to thank you guys for always being here and making it fun. I do enjoy reading comics, even if I'm not great at it. And don't forget, guys, Skip has a stream You can find him on Twitch. He's on the Thinking Critical stream to Twitch. You guys should all have memberships to that by now, hopefully. If you don't, it's easy to find. And if you have any trouble, Skip's a real nice guy. If you just ask him, how do I find your stream? I'm sure he'll tell you. I don't have it off the top of my head. Otherwise, I would link it. But he does this. He's the inspiration for me even doing this tonight. So it's all good. Thank you, guys. FF says, peace out, everyone. I concur. Ryuk says, night, everyone. Dane says, you owe us Iceman cringe. Hey, Iceman, it's in the freezer. Don't worry. I'll thaw it out later. We'll get to it. But right now, we got good comics. Got to keep the mood up. I'll see you guys on Sunday. Sunday. Good night.